Cool. Hello. So I'm Harry Cooper from Jam Ltd. Today we're going to look at Audio Pong, which is a mini game we've been developing partly to feature in the audio arcade and the city level of Pitch Black, but also to release as its own sort of mini game as part of the Pitch Black audio station. So it's been a real challenge converting Pong to the audio based because the layout of a Pong board is very, if you think about it from a first person perspective, you've got one Pong paddle at one end of the arena, and then a couple of walls and a bit of distance, and then your Pong paddle, and the ball is going back and forth between the two paddles, and it's also hitting the walls on the left and right of you. Now, if you're relying on spatialization, because no visuals, then you want the spatialization, whether or not the ball's left or right, to be very obvious. And if you're playing in a mostly sort of lengthwise arena rather than a horizontal one, that's quite a problem, because it's always only until it's right next to you. It's never going to be 180 degrees left, 180 degrees right. Instead, it's going to be, maybe 20 degrees to your left, and then gradually getting up to 45, and then by the time it's sort of 90 and completely on your left, it's too late to do anything about it. So that means that the sound design has to exaggerate the location of the ball, both horizontally and also from a distance perspective. If the ball's at one end and you make that be really quiet when it's at the other end of the arena, you can sort of lose track of where the ball is, which is a nightmare if you're trying to position yourself correctly early on, so you don't have to do a mad dash as the ball's coming towards you. And so instead, what you want to do is make the ball nice and loud, sort of wherever it is, so you can easily track it. But if you do that all the time, then you just lose any account of distance, right? So you can have it be very loud when it hits you, but that's quite unpleasant. If your ball's sort of a good volume when it's at the opponent's end, and then as it gets closer, there has to be a noticeable gradient, because that's your information channel, the volume. But then if you do that, it then becomes sort of unbearably loud once it reaches you as the player. So there are a couple of issues I had to get around to sort of make this work. And I tried lots of things. Where I am now, and I think what I'm going to stick with, is using a sort of a beeping speed as a distance indicator, because people are very used to the idea of a radar being like, oh, it's far away, so it's boop, 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 as it's getting closer. And you can do that with pitch as well. I haven't implemented that. And so that sort of gets rid of the how far away is it problem. When it's beeping slowly, it's at the other end. When it's beeping very quickly, it's about to go past you, or you're about to hit it. How I handled the horizontal problem is by placing an audio source sort of behind the player that moves to the left or right in the X coordinate of where the ball is, but doesn't obviously move in the Z coordinate. And that way, what happens is, as the ball moves to the left, even if it's over there, and so technically it's at a 10-degree angle from the player, and so quite hard to spatialize in headphones. Once it goes over there, then the indicator that's in the Z axis of where the player is moving side to side is going to be at 90 degrees to the player. And so as the ball goes like that, it's very obvious to tell that the ball's, or as the ball goes to the left, it's very obvious to tell that it's there because the indicator behind the player is nice and loud and to the left. That was a very rambling explanation, but I'll play the game in a minute and you'll be able to hear what it sounds like. The other issue I had to get past was that technically, when the ball is slightly to the left, the X indicator is also slightly to the left, and so not very far from the player, and so that when it should be loudest. But if you think, if the player's waiting on, you want it to be louder when the player's in danger of losing a point, not when the player's sort of right next to the thing already. And so, right next to the ball already. So what I had to do to make that obvious was invert the volume curve. So instead of it being louder when it's closer to the player, in fact it's louder to your left or right when the ball is far away from the player. Because otherwise you don't get that sense of urgency, and it's also quite hard if the ball's getting quieter when it's to your far left or far right to spatialise where it is. Yeah, so I hope that makes sense. I'm going to give it a play now, and so you'll be able to listen. Okay, so you heard there that the ball bounced off the player, so as it got closer, the beeping increased, and it bounced off the player and went towards the opponent. Okay, so you hear that. Just go. Okay. So as it hits the opponent, if I move to the left, you see how it got louder when it was about to score, even though technically it should have gotten quieter. Okay. There are also sounds when it bounces off each wall, like so. When it bounces off my paddle, which is this one. When it bounces off the opponent's paddle. When the opponent scores. And when I score. There's also that ba-ba at the start, which means that the ball's just been released. Okay, yeah, and that's sort of the basic mechanics. We're gonna add increasing difficulty as you go along, and you know, crowns at either side and stuff. But it was important to get this working and actually playable before we started adding other stuff, which could just make it more difficult through masking and such. Yeah, so that's audio Pong. What we're going to do is have sort of 5 or 6 levels of difficulty, and each opponent is going to be a character from the game. So the final level will be the director, and the level before that you'll be playing against the emperor. And it's going to feature voice acting, kind of like in fighting games when they're like, "I will destroy you, cha!" And then at the end, they're like, "I can't believe I was beaten." Ooh. Better than that, obviously. Yeah, so that's audio Pong. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll do an update when there becomes a new feature. We're hoping to get this out sort of the end of January, although that is only sort of 3-4 weeks away, so I'm not sure we'll quite get there, but we'll see. The next video is going to be about starting to create the sewer level for the pitch black full game. So look out for that.